Yo, what's up everybody? It's Peace. Welcome to another video. So as you guys saw, I posted all of the 5 matches that I performed with the Kashtira Spright Snake Eyes deck. And I was going to show you guys the deck profile. I ended up having one draw against Eric Arias, but I beat my other 4 opponents. And it was a $20 entry. I managed to get 20 packs of the Quarter Century Bonanza as prizing. So my son and I will be opening these over the next few weeks. Shout out to Team Bad Cards. Shout out to Jesse for the deck box. Shout out to Being Crippled. And also shout out to the camera woman for suggesting I play Kashtira. All right, so X01 with this deck. I was really proud. It performed well all day, and if I didn't misplay against Eric, I probably could have gotten first place and gotten 36 packs of Bonanza instead of just 20. But still, 20 is amazing. Like, I definitely got my money's worth from this tournament. So let's get into the deck profile. I did play 60. 60 cards is correct for certain strategies, is what I tell a lot of people. When you have a lot of bricks in your strategy that you don't want to draw into your deck, you play more cards with a lot more starters in order for you to see the cards that you don't want to draw less often. So you can actually play a 60 card deck and be more consistent than the 40 card deck. And with those bricks, you can increase the ceiling of your deck to the stratosphere. So let's go ahead and get into that deck profile. So first up is the Kashtira engine. I played 3 Unicorn and 3 Fenrir. So there's a lot of 1-card combos in this deck. Fenrir is really cool because you can actually search your Rise Heart, normal summon it, make it a level 7, overlay for Draco Sack, and just creates an insane sprite board by itself. This is also really good for if you draw your Dimension Shifter, spoiler alert for the hand trap section. This lets you make your Shangri Era and have your Fenrir on board, and then during the standby phase you summon the Kashtira Unicorn, and usually people cannot kill you through that because you're going to get an extra deck rip and they have to play through Shifter. It's really awesome. Also, we do play Scareclaw Kashtira. With this card, it lets you, if you draw Unicorn Fenrir or a way to get to those 2, it lets you have access to 4 level 7 bodies just by having access to this. Because you Unicorn, search Birth, normal summon the Fenrir, search this, overlay, then you can detach, then you can banish for the Scareclaw Kashtira, and then you can bring back with the Birth, so you can make 2 rank 7s, which is broken. Next up for the spells, I played Kashtira Theosis and Kashtira Birth, and then to search all the Kashtira monsters, I played 3 of the field spell, Pressured Planet, and then I also played the 1 Terraforming to search the field spell, because you don't really care too much about Droll. It does hinder your board. You can't make Toad under Droll, but you can still do a lot under Droll, which is another part of this deck that I really, really like. All right, next up is the Sprite engine. So I didn't max out on Sprite Blue this time, because all you need is just 2. Shout out to Team Bad Cards. They gave me this for my birthday, I think 2 years ago. Yeah, so 2 blue, 2 jet, 1 red, the monster negator, and 1 carrot, the spell and trap negator. All these are super important. You don't mind if you see them in your hand, but you have ways to tutor them out of your deck through your Kashtira engine with your extra deck, or through other awesome cards that we play, like Sprite Starter. I play 3 Sprite Starter because this is a push that people do not expect. And this can do a lot of damage, especially since we main deck 1 copy of Sprite Gamma Burst. So this allows you to not only OTK, but just clear big bodies if that situation comes up. I decided to not main deck the Sprite Smashers. That's only if I'm playing against a strategy that has a non-targetable boss monster that I need to out by banishing. But this performed really well all day during the tournament. So that's the Sprite package, but we do supplement that with one of the camera woman's favorites, the Nimble package. So 3 Nimble Beaver, you gotta play 3 Beaver, 2 Nimble Angler, and then to go with the Nimble Anglers, we also do play 2 Swap Frogs. So this is a really good synergy. This lets you make Totally Awesome in the extra deck, which is a phenomenal negate. Post side deck, you'll see a Sprite card that I side in, and I'll probably make some combo videos later on for you guys, because I still plan on playing this deck at locals tomorrow. But essentially, this package is amazing. It lets you make Toad by itself now, since they printed the Mirror Mage of the Ice Barrier, and the Freezing Chains of the Ice Barrier. Several times in tournament, since I'm playing Snake Eyes and this card just Monster Reborns and stays on the field, I was able to utilize this card to send off with Black Witch or to send off with Original Sinful Spoils. Basically, kind of just removing the cost for that engine, which is really powerful, giving me an extra body to make more pushes against my opponent. So this package performed extremely well all day. Next up is the Snake Eyes package. So I finally have 3 Diabellstar. This is a really great starter, and what I really like about this deck, and the reason I made this deck, is because of the level synergy. This is a level 7, and all of your Kashtira monsters are level 7. You want to make your Mecha Phantom Beast Draco Sack as soon as possible. So even if you only access one of your Kashtira monsters, it doesn't matter. Because you have access to Black Witch, you can special summon this and then use both of those level 7 bodies to overlay and then continue your combo that way. So it's really cool. Then for the Snake Eyes cards, you have the 1 Snake Eye Ash, the 1 Snake Eyes Poplar, the 1 Snake Eyes Oak, and I did opt to play the Snake Eyes Birch. This is honestly cuttable. It didn't really come up in tournament at all. It was just an extra search target, but you play a lot of fires in your extra deck, so you can just always basically special summon this as an extra body. And if you hard draw your Poplar, it allows Ash to still become 2 bodies, although very often in this deck, you have so many bodies that you don't know what to do with them, so this is almost unnecessary. So honestly, this would be one of the cards that that you could cut if you don't have access to it or you don't want to play it. Continuing on with the Snake Eye package, we do play 2 Flamberge. Opponents are super surprised that I played 2. I remember in one of my matches, my opponent banished 1 face down, and then immediately after, I used Snake Eyes Ash to special summon the 2nd copy from the deck, and he just went ballistic. He was like, what? He was so surprised. This slot would be a, what's it called? A Snake Eyes, what's it? I forgot the name of it, but it's that other level 8 body that you can special summon from the Spell and Trap Zone. I don't have that card, but it's like not even necessary, because 2 Flamberge is awesome because your opponent does not expect it, because everyone's only playing 1. Because this is a pretty hard brick, but if you can get into Graveyard and you can access your Snake Eyes package, you just put it in the Spell and Trap Zone with Poplar, and you're fine. Oh, yeah, the card that I was thinking of is called Snake Eyes Diabellstar. But yeah, you don't need Snake Eyes Diabellstar. Just play 2 Flamberge. Next up, to supplement that, you have 1-for-1. You can summon out your Snake Eyes Ash or Poplar with this, and then you can just go full Snake Eyes combo. The 1 Bonfire, it's a hard once per turn, so you definitely don't want to draw more than 1. But spoiler alert, I only own 1. It's all you need. I saw it once, and I didn't even need it because I drew into the other part of the engine. But if I got hand trapped, this would have been very clutch. But I did not get hand trapped at that point. Only 2 wanted Seeker of Sinful Spoils. This card's broken, so broken that I always forget the draw effect, unfortunately. By banishing it, you can put your original Sinful Spoils back. I always forget that. I forgot it in tournament too, but it didn't matter because I was just way so far ahead. I wish I had a 3rd one, because you definitely want to play the 3rd one. I'd probably cut the Birch for the 3rd wanted. Who knows? Maybe I opened a wanted in my bonanza packs. We'll have to see. Next, Original Sinful Spoils, Snake Eye. This is the one that you set off Diabellstar and you can summon from deck. If you already have access to this, you just set Wanted. Next up, we do play the Divine Temple. That's the last Snake Eyes card. This card by itself is still pretty cool, because even if you're under your own shifter, which happened in tournament, you could just activate this, put Snake Eyes Ash there, and then if your opponent summons, then you threaten Snake Eyes Ash, which is really cool. Very powerful. So that's the Snake Eyes package. Finally is just hand traps. I played 12 main deck hand traps, but it is 60 cards. So you're not going to see a hand trap every hand, but every other card in your deck is so gas that it doesn't even matter. So 3-Dimension Shifter, this card's just crazy in Kashtira, and also Sprite, because you can do so much under Shifter, and you have so many ways to your Kashtira and Sprite cards that this this card is definitely a mainstay. Next up, Triple Ash Blossom, just generically good. Triple Ghost Ogre. This card's broken against the Azamina strategy. And a bunch of other stuff. Like, I hit a Snake Eye Ash with this. I think I hit something in Voiceless Voice with this. Like, this just hits random stuff, and it's, like, really good. I really like Ghost Ogre this format. And then finally, Infinite Impermanence. This doesn't even turn on your opponent's talents, so that's just super broken. So that's it for the 60-card main deck. Next up is the extra deck. So, starting off with the Kashtira package. So these are our rank 7s. We play one Kashtira Shangri-Ira. This is for when you have a ton of level 7 bodies or you use Dimension Shifter. So that's just really useful. I thought about siding this for a bit, but this does deserve a main deck slot because you're main decking Shifter. The other rank 7 that we play in our extra deck is the Mecha Phantom Beast Dracosac. I'll make some combo videos, but honestly, you guys can just look at the duels to see. I summon this every chance I can get because it just puts so much pressure on your opponent. They must do something about it or else. Like, even like tributing itself and popping something is such a big threat going second that that it needs to be answered, which is really great because you don't really care. If it does go through, then you get 4 bodies worth of link material because of the G Golem Crystal Heart package that I'll show you. And you can get to access to Spright Sprind or Access Code Talker or whatever you need at that time. Next up, 2 Gigantic Sprite for the Sprite package. You need 1 for your first turn and 1 to kill your opponent on the crackback. I actually cut Pot of Prosperity because this extra deck is so tight. And I found myself banishing stuff that I needed later. So it just wasn't worth it to play Prosperity. And this is one of the main reasons why, because you're tempted to banish one of your gigantic sprites, but you can't afford to get rid of it. Like, this is like one of the best cards in your extra deck. Next up, totally awesome. Your main boss monster. This card's phenomenal, so good. And that's all the XEs in the extra deck. Next up is the links. So to supplement our Sprite package, we do play 1 Spright Sprind. Shout out to me opening amazingly in my prize packs. Very shiny. Very good card. Next up is the Link Spiders. You do play 2 of these because you use each of the tokens to go into a Link Spider, which allows you to link up into G Golem Crystal Heart and reborn one of the Link Spiders. This combo does not lock you into anything, so you get to just do whatever you want freely. And what's really cool is G Golem Crystal Heart is 0. So when you summon this against So Handsome Steve, after he what's that card called? Spooky Dog, Null, None, and Spooky Dogwood, I think the card is called. He gains 0 life points because you got 0 attack. By the way, I got him up to 36,700 life points with that card, and I was still able to kill him because I was able to negate his whole hand. That's how powerful this deck is. You can play through Spooky Dogwood as if they didn't even activate anything. They just basically looped their own hand for 1. Next up, you can easily climb into Access Code Talker. Really strong card. I like this. And you have a ton of attributes in your graveyard once you use this because you have at least the water and the earth. You can banish itself as the dark. If you have Sprind, that's a fire. You just have so many different link attributes that this card's really good, and it's great for getting over stuff. Next up, the Snake Eyes portion of the extra deck. I play 1 Hida, the Fire Charmer. This is just amazing in Snake Eye. Like, everyone's playing Ash. If you go against Tempai, you can take their stuff. If you're going against the Mirror, you can take their stuff, like Rise Heart or Sprite Carrot or Sprite Red. Or the best thing that you can take is probably another Hida as another link for link 2 body, so you can overlay for Gigantic Sprite. Or you can take your opponent's Snake Eyes Ash and then just go full Snake Eyes combo. It's just a really funny card that gives you access to a lot of things, especially going second. Next up, Promethean Princess. The reason that this deck even works is because of this card's existence. I tried to put Snake Eyes packages into decks prior to obtaining a princess, and it was absolute garbage. This makes the deck. So once I was able to activate Unicorn's effect, this was the first card that I banished face down because it makes this deck so much worse to not have this. So once I got this, that's why I was able to actually make this strategy. So this is one of the key cards in the deck. and now it's very low rarity because of the quarter century bonanza. So I was able to get a copy. Next up, finally, for the Snake Eyes extra deck cards, we do play the Amphibious Swarm Ship Ambler Whale. You could play the Zealantis package. I don't have a Raging Phoenix, so I opted to just play the Ambler Whale. This is really cool because on the crackback, when you're popping this with your Princess, since you control Princess, you're locked into fire, but you can still use Amphibious Swarm Ship Ambler Whale's effect to special summon. So you special summon Spright Sprint, which is really broken because it's a Link 2 that you can use during your opponent's turn to layer up into Access Code Talker and ensure your victory, which is really cool. Or if you get another level 2 body on board, you can make a gigantic Sprite with 3,200 attack instead of 1,600. So very strong. And then finally, IP Masquerade and SP Little Knight. Shout out to Team Bad Cards. The Colon P package has survived. I had to cut MP Meow Mime from the main deck because it just doesn't fit anymore. But like, this is what you're making with your Snake Eye engine and putting in your spell and trap zone. At one point, I had 6 monsters on field because I had the extra monster zone, and I had the IP in the spell and trap zone. So it's like I had 7 monsters on board, which is insane. This deck is just so strong. So that's it for the extra deck. Now for the side deck. So the side deck was weird. You know, it's locals, so you have to be prepared for anything. I do have a special card that you can summon off of Gigantic Sprite that can really help your strategy out, especially as you're approaching the end of the match and you need to extend. This is another really good card that comes in clutch. You side in Red Eye's Flare Metal Dragon when you take out your Swap Frog package. So like going second, those cards are not nearly as good. So usually I take those out, those 4 cards, and then sometimes even an Angler and a Beaver. And then I put in this, I take out the Toad, and it's just really strong because it can't be destroyed by card effects when it has material. Next up, more hand traps. If I know I'm going up against a deck that can just continuously search, like every deck that I've ever played loses to this card, which is why I like siding it, because every now and then there's a deck that just goes crazy, like Drytron or Kashtira or Fluandereeze, or like literally this hurts almost every strategy in the game. At least a little bit, which is why I really like this card. And if you see it, you can just end someone's turn. Next up, I played 2 copies of Thrust. It's just a generically good card that you can use going second to search any spell or trap in your deck, basically. The 1 talent that you can search, the 1 Harpy's Feather Duster for back row decks. Now, next up, I did opt to play 1 Called by the Grave. The logic was is that I definitely don't want this in my main deck. But going into games 2 and 3 sometimes, when you know you're going second or even first, and you know your opponent is putting in a bunch of hand traps, this is really good for hitting like your opponent's Princess, for example. Although you can't use your own Princess if you do that, but like it's totally worth it to protect yourself from that. This also hits Hieratic Seal of Heavenly Spheres, which is nice if you draw it. So I really like Call by the Grave. It's an extremely powerful card. This honestly should be banned, but like you should have Call by the Grave somewhere on your deck list. Next up, the Sprite side deck cards. I do side the Sprite Smashers. When I'm going second, this is a really good card because it's super searchable and you can just very easily out something if you have access to your Sprite package, because Jet searches this and there's so many different ways to get to Jet in this deck. It's unbelievable. And then the other card is the card I talked about earlier, Sprite Double Cross. So this is an amazing disruption that's part of the Sprite package. So 1 Sprite starter gets you the Double Cross with the Toad and the Gigantic Sprite with your Sprint on field, which gives you a bounce and 2 negates. The way that the 2 negates works, and follow-up, you tribute off your Totally Awesome to negate something, then you use its effect to add back a Beaver, then you can special summon it back with Sprite Double Cross, which means you can negate again and then add back another follow-up card, which is broken. So yeah, this card is fantastic. This is even another thrust target if you get stopped. Put this on board and your opponent's going to have a really hard time because it removes the threat completely. It either attaches your opponent's card as a material, reborn something from the grave, or you can special or just like take control of something that your opponent controls, which is insane. Next up, the last thrust target is evenly matched. This card's just a great blowout. I wish I had more room for it because going second is just so much easier when you can bait their negate with your evenly. Last two cards in the side deck is really funny. It's Silhouette Rabbit and the Angel Statue Azarune. This doesn't come in too often, but against certain strategies, this is super broken. And it works under Shifter too, which is really nice. And by Shifter, I mean, you can't use this one because you have to send this one to the graveyard, right? Yeah, you have to send this one to the graveyard for its effect. But the main thing that is really broken about this is spell and trap removal during your opponent's turn. And you don't realize how amazing that is. That's why Ghost Ogre is so prevalent right now and so amazing, because you get to destroy your opponent's Azamina Sinful Spoils card, which is like insane. Because that puts them so far back, because that card pluses them insanely well. So this is just a really good option for against certain strategies. I'll let you guys be the judge of which strategies to use that in. But that was my deck list. I don't really think that I would change much about it, except for what I said about putting a third Wanted and then taking out the Birch. But besides that, the deck performed fantastic all day. If I was a better pilot, like I said, I could have gotten first with this. So really awesome that I got second place with something that I cooked up by myself. I love making P-side decks, as some of my friends will call them. But yeah, I'm really proud of this list. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I know a couple of you guys in the comment section were seeing the matches and asking when this was dropping. So yeah, there it is. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Subscribe for more.